Hey, good morning, and welcome to another daily devotional. We are almost through with the book of Job. Today we are in Job 37, which is a very special chapter because this is the last chapter where kind of a man speaks. In the next chapter, we finally hear again from God as to this whole situation that has been happening with Job. And as we talked about yesterday, we have now realized that Elihu is actually kind of a messenger from God. And that is especially obvious in this chapter because everything basically said in this chapter is then said by God in the next chapter, almost exactly the same thing. So it kind of gives us an idea of, okay, this is the moment where at the end of this chapter, there's kind of a period placed, and then the next sentence starts with God. God does not rebuke Elihu. God does not say anything to him. He actually directs all of his conversations towards Job. So Elihu is kind of finishing up this whole book, kind of giving the last little bit of insight of a man's perspective of God. And he gives us kind of a really good theology or a view of God, theo meaning God, ology the study of, or the view of, our view of God. He kind of finishes it off, kind of bringing it all back into what is important. And when it comes to what is important, he gets us know basically this. God is so much greater, so much more powerful, so much smarter, so much wiser, so much more creative, so much more everything than us. And we are just man. And he uses some amazing words to really describe this whole thing. You know, he talks about creation. He talks about, that when God did this, were we there? When God did that, were we there? And he points to creation and just how creation is this amazing thing that has happened. The way that the clouds roar in, the way that the snow falls, all of this. That really we weren't there when God made the creation. We weren't there when that happened. And we can't even join in with God in creation because we are not a creator. We take things that God has created and we're rearrangers and we creatively do things with what God has done. But we're not in and of ourselves able to create things. Even children, we may feel like we are able to create offspring, but God's the one that provides life even for that. We are still just taking atoms and molecules, even in a scientific level. We are not on God's level of creator and power. And so really what he's getting at is this. I love this. Could there be a more timely verse, God, than this? It says this, okay? God says this. He says to the snow, fall on the earth, and to the rain shower, be a mighty downpour, so that everyone he has made may know his work. He stops all people from their labor. So what Elihu says here is that there's times where you have to think for them, they didn't have huge factories, they didn't have huge warehouses, so to speak. Much of their work during this time happened out in the fields, right? Happened out agriculture, taking care of, animals, different things. They didn't have the giant structures that we do now necessarily. And so rain, snow, all of these things absolutely shut down life. When we lived in the Midwest, when you got when you've got freezing rain, I think we get that here in Washington. When you get freezing rain, absolutely everything stops. You thought you were going to work, you're not going to work. And that's this thing of when the natural elements happen, that would completely stop their lives. And so that was a moment where they would say, okay, the plans we had in place, we no longer can carry out because we now realize we're not in control of life. Sounds a little familiar to the season of life we are in right now. That the plans we've made, the things we're going to do, God in some seasons allows them to completely stop so that we can just simply recognize, you know what, God, you're in control. God, this is you. I can't even try to even comprehend why this is happening. And really, if there's one last thing we can learn from the last man that speaks in the book of Job, that we could learn from all of them that spoke in this book of Job, to trying to answer the question, why? In life, we always try and answer the question, why? We always say, okay, why did this happen? Why did that happen? Why does God do this? And really, when it comes down to it, God is God. We're not God. Our understanding is not there to understand why God is God. That's why he's God. If we could understand him, he would no longer be God. And to really say, there's times where we just have to stop and just realize, God, you're in control, not me. And so I hope that today that's an encouragement to you, that no matter what's happening in your life, that you can just know, God, you're in control, not me. Whatever's happening is you. I'm just going to sit back and remember, you're in control of the world. You created the universe. You can take care of me. God, I'm going to let you be in control. So come back tomorrow, because God speaks tomorrow to Job. The next 3 chapters are absolutely amazing as we finish off the book. You cannot miss the next few days. So we'll see you tomorrow for Job 38.